despite what their moms told them. They just aren't talented enough for radio. Unfortunately, anyone can have a show these days. Sean.
Well, I'm pretty hard to figure out sometimes. In fact, I can't even figure myself out sometimes, so don't you try to.
Joe.
You're an idiot. And really a disloyal person.
This is the Cuse Militia. Those two unapologetically biased, orange-blooded homers, Sean and Joe.
It's the most bullshit thing I've seen in 30 years.
Welcome, orange men and ladies. Happy Tuesday. This is the Cuse Militia with Sean and Joe at Cuse Militia on the socials. Go there, join the militia. This is our first preview of the football season, and Joe couldn't be happier.
Yes, sir. I'm ready.
So
I am ready, buddy.
Yeah.
I know.
Big game.
Talked about it.
Once it gets rolling, I'll be fine. Once it gets
No, it
rolling,
started on Saturday. There's only 12 games.
I understand that, but once Syracuse, I watched the UConn game, which I was
a little bit, right?
I watched it from about the second quarter till I lost interest in the fourth quarter, about halfway through.
Yeah, it was kind of interesting because I know Taquan Roberson is a transfer from Penn State, actually, and he started the game, and he got the first touchdown, UConn, and UConn actually went up 14-0 in this game.
Yeah.
But he was out of the game late. Their second-string quarterback came in. They struggled to throw the ball, and once Utah State figured out what they were doing, Utah State put up a 24 spot in the second quarter, and from there, really, UConn didn't have anything. So I remember I called you, and I was like, I don't know if this UConn is going to be as big as of a gimme as we think. They got a pretty good running back, but, it just seemed like they weren't very diverse on offense. And
the longevity of it. They just they just couldn't hang long enough. But they jumped out quick, and it looked good for a little bit. But
for a second,
yeah. I mean,
Florida State, UNC took care of their FCS opponents, which was expected, and I even got to watch a little bit of old Tommy DeVito. Got the starting job at Illinois. Brought Bielema, the coach over there, and they were playing against Wyoming at home, and he didn't look horrible. 27-37 for 194 yards and 2 touchdowns, but
did you listen to what's floating around social media and all that, right?
I heard about it.
Okay. Well, I got the clip.
No, you don't.
Yeah. So look, the one rule we kind of have here is that when people leave, then we wish them the best, and we let them go. Mm-hmm. It's not once an orange, always orange, in my opinion. If you leave and you go...
Illinois is orange and blue, too.
He almost looks the same.
He kind of looked... Yeah, he did. It wasn't 13, it was 3, but he kind of looked like it. Instead of an S, there was an I on his helmet.
Right.
Other than that.
Wrong shade of blue.
A little bit,
But, it's just... wasn't a good fit. I don't think Tommy wanted to be here. And this clip kind of shows... I mean, you tell me. But I'll play it. We'll talk about it. It's not too controversial or anything, and I'm not hating the guy. I'm not hating on him at all. I think he did good. It's a good opening game for Tommy DeVito. He seems very happy where he's at, and for him, that's great. That's what he's looking for. That's all that matters. But let's listen to this, and we'll talk about it real quick after.
To go along with that, what about the offensive line? Because they really gave you great protection as well as making holes for Chase and those guys.
Listen, I'm not taking any shots here, but I think this was the first game that I've been in where I did not get sacked. Am I fair to say that? So they did an awesome job. I mean, as far as the play calling as well, just scheming it up against the defense, because obviously we didn't know what exactly we were getting into.
Yeah, I'll ask it, Tommy. The run game and pretty good pass protection. This is kind of a new world for you, huh?
No doubt. It was a lot of fun. Like I said, my body feels good right now. I'm still going to hydrate and take care of it going into the week because we have a short week coming up with the game on Friday against the Big Ten opponent, so I'm looking forward to that.
Okay, I don't know much about Wyoming. So with that said, Joel, I'll leave that up to you. You probably know more than I know, so I'm going to stay in my lane. But I'll say this. If you watch it, it looks teed up. He's ready for it, okay? And if it is a shot, and here's the thing. It is a shot. It's a legit shot. It's not, you can't sit here as a Syracuse fan and defend the fact that the offensive line has been awful, right? So there's two things he misses out on, in my opinion. First of all, the reporters are totally egging him on. Okay? There's one guy snickering, and then there's the second reporter there. I'll say it, Tommy. Well, you got the run game. Dude, you had Sean Tucker last year. I mean, give me a break. So there's two things here. First of all, he says, I'm not trying to take shots here. Take the shot and own it. Be a man about it. Own that poop. Do it and do it right and own it. And that gains respect. Okay?
Yeah.
Whether or not us Syracuse fans like it or not is true. The only thing that's not true is in his last start for Syracuse, he did not get sacked. I only had to go back one game to check.
Well, he didn't play the whole game, though, either.
I get it. True. But here's the other thing. Here's the other thing, too. Here's the other thing. He's missing the point of why he wasn't there. And the point was that he was getting sacked a lot because he wasn't as mobile. Syracuse had a problem. That problem is the offensive line. To fix that problem, they put in Garrett Schrader. He performed well. His athleticism was needed for sure last year, which is why Tommy lost his starting job. And I think that's missed. Like, it wasn't because they didn't like Tommy. It wasn't because this, that, or the other. I don't think Tommy wanted to be there. I think his true feelings showed, he doesn't feel like he was getting enough respect on the offensive line end of things. So that's my take.
Well, and like what you said, I mean, it is a shot. Don't preface a shot with, I'm not trying to take a shot.
But
you don't have to say it then.
Right.
We all know what the deal was. But at the end of the day, we talked about this for the past couple of years that DeVito was there. I think we got to a point where we said that DeVito wasn't going to be able to be successful unless there was a really good talent around him, right? He wasn't going to be the guy that, and we talked about that. And
I bet you there's audio of it, sure, of us saying that.
Yeah, and we also talked last year about the fact that it wasn't just the line's fault. It wasn't just the quarterback's fault, but the receivers, the offensive coordinator, a lot of that stuff got better. So, again, not owning up to it, because at the end of the day, like you said, Schrader didn't get sacked as much as him. Schrader handled that pressure and handled the lack of that talent around him a lot better. And that's why he's not there, right? So maybe Illinois does have a little bit of, better talent around them. Or maybe Wyoming's just not that good. To me, again, it's just kind of, we've always kind of, and again, we wanted him to be great, right? And when he left, we want him to have a good career. But I think that there's been a little bit of cockiness surrounding him. And I think, people have kind of felt that, especially around the Syracuse fans and stuff. And just to come out after a non-conference game against Wyoming and talk like that. I mean, look, they got Indiana this week, Friday at 8 o'clock on Fox Sports 1 for all y'all that want to watch and see how many times he doesn't get sacked or how well he does. But, let's be honest, Chase Brown, he had 151 yards rushing and 3 total touchdowns. They were all ahead the whole game. And he averaged, 5.2 yards a
carry.
No, a throw.
Oh.
Tommy did. A completion. So, the longest throw was, I think, or the longest completion was 27-yard throw. So, he managed the game. Let's see what happens when they need to score. They need to match, other teams are scoring and stuff like that, or they play, a better defense. So, again, it's, you look at it and you're like, but I always look at that like, okay, like I'm not wishing the worst on you, but like, no. Karma's kind of a bitch, It's just, and there's a long season there.
I don't think it's any secret how we felt about last year's quarterback controversy, if you will. I've been pretty honest about it. That's one thing we are on this show is we're like, I'm not going to say the things I feel like people want to hear. Joe, I know you don't. We kind of just say what we think. And sometimes it's shallow and sometimes it's even more shallow, but we at least say what we're going to think, what we think, right? So, good on Tommy with the win. Like you said, we'll see. I'm old enough to remember the time Tommy DeVito came in for Eric Dungy in the UNC game and lit the place on fire, and we thought he was the next coming of Joe Montana. So, and then fell on his face thereafter. And I think, we remember that, okay? He's got talent. There's no doubt about it. How much talent? I don't know. That's all really keep an eye on it. It's the same thing with Kadari Richmond, kind of in a way, is that I don't think they wanted to be here. You know what I mean? It just doesn't feel like to me that they were I don't know if it was a fit in thing, but just didn't seem that they didn't.
That's what
want
I mean. I think sometimes things don't fit.
Yeah, a little bit. So he sat for a little bit watching Eric Dungy, and he finally got a shot, and just the pieces weren't there for him. So, anyways, yeah. Normally we wouldn't bring it up, but he took the shot. I feel like everybody should hear it and kind of think, just add your thoughts. So, okay.
Yep.
Look, the all-time series between the Cardinals and Syracuse sits at 13-7 in favor of the Cardinals. They've taken 10 of the last 12, dating back to 2009. Okay. Syracuse has only won 1 out of the last 8 games since joining the ACC in 2014. They've played on the road 5 out of 8 of those games due to, a lot of that was the COVID stuff that was ridiculous. So you'd hope something would change soon, and why not the first game of the season in a newly named JMA Dome, right? To do so, obviously, though, requires the Orange to contain Malik Cunningham. The guy rushed for over 1,000 yards. He led his team in rushing last year. He passed for close to 3,000 yards with 2,941. Out of 337 pass attempts last year, he only threw 6 interceptions. That's remarkable. 7th best QB rating in the country, according to Noon's Magician. So between his elusiveness and the offensive line, he was only sacked 20 times last year, which seems, when you think about it, I guess it's not a ton, but it's not great. I thought it would be lower. The defense gave up an average. Their Cardinals defense gave an average of 27 points last year, but combined for 31 sacks and 15 turnovers. So there's room for them to improve there. But this will be Cunningham and Satterfield's first time playing together as Cardinals in the Dome. It's both their 4th year. Is that right? Has Satterfield been to the Dome with another school? He had. Okay, all right. I just didn't have time to look that up.
No, I listened to his pregame presser, and he said he's never been there. Yep. Okay.
So they're going to return the second and third leading rushers, and Jalen Mitchell and Travion Cooley. They're returning tight end Marshall Ford, who ended up the lead receiver last year. And then to the press conference that you're talking about, so I think is it Tyan Evans?
Yeah,
he was listed as their starting running back for coming into the Dome. Evans is a transfer out of Tennessee, so altogether that gives them 4 pretty decent running backs with him, Jalen Mitchell, Jawar Jordan. We all know Jawar Jordan from Syracuse, and Travion Cooley. So Satterfield noted in his press conference, it's going to be a good competition for those guys. Basically, they're all going to be used, and they're stacked at running back. Second thing noted out of the press conference was that the Cardinals have been dominating Syracuse, as we already mentioned, and of course had to play Louisville last year on Lamar Jackson Day at Louisville, right? 41-3 loss. Before that, 31-0 loss. 2019, the 56-34 loss, and then 2018 was the year. That was the game I went to at the Dome. Eric Dungy's last home game where they beat the Cardinals. Of course, Satterfield played coy about the whole thing, and as he should, right? He says he's not putting any stock in previous games. So, also the buzz around Louisville apparently for the preseason is that Satterfield may be on the hot seat coming into this year. I don't think so. I feel like he's a good coach, but you know how fans are. So. He noted that he's trying to build a program. Every year is crucial when you're trying to do that. Of course, he just stated that he's just going to go out there and win, right? So, obviously, Joe, for both teams, this is a huge opener for the year for them. It would be huge for either one of them to come away with a conference win, first game of the season. I'd say it's big for either team. Obviously, I think there's more on the line for Syracuse, but Louisville coming into the Dome and winning would give them huge momentum. Obviously, it doesn't take away from the fact that if the Orange would win, it would give them a giant boost as well. But either way, a lot riding on this first game of the season, Joe. And we'll get into picks, but I feel better about this, I think, more without knowing much. So We'll see. The Malik Cunningham and 4 running backs is makes me a little nervous. I'm gonna be honest. I just found out about the running backs today.
Yeah, and obviously that the backup from Tennessee is a really good running back, and obviously Jawar Jordan's on that list, who was a transfer from Syracuse. They got him listed as and the second running back with Travion Cooley and Jalen Mitchell. So they're all there. They all have talent. And the one thing with Louisville is that they return 4 out of their 5 offensive linemen. They return an H-back in Marshawn Ford, who is an NFL prospect / tight end. He's a tweener between a tight end / receiver, with the tight end Des Melton, who had a pretty good year as well. So offensively, their question mark is their wide receivers. They lost 3 of their top 4 wide receivers from last year. And obviously Malik Cunningham is just a human highlight film. Not quite Lamar Jackson, but
same type of
yeah.
thing.
So really, when you look at it, it's a situation where, there's a little scary for me, because I look at our offensive line, and now we just kind of got to hope that, we can bring a lot of pressure, bring some people in the box, and that our back end guys can, play man and hold on to these, be able to take care of these receivers by themselves without having, a lot of help up top, because we're going to need help with the run game and with stopping Malik Cunningham and the running backs and everything like that. So, yeah, Tyon Evans and Malik Cunningham with that offensive line, and then you throw in Marshawn Ford, who's, NFL prospect. I mean, they definitely have talent on offense, but they're also definitely not a complete offense. And they did have some issues with turnovers last year, which we've had issues turning the ball over as far as a defensive team. But, again, we've talked about that, and we think that's going to change a little bit. As far as defensive wise goes, it looks like they run a 3-4. So they're still going to have the same type of look that we are, but instead of having 5 D-backs, they just have 4 D-backs and 4 linebackers. So you're going to see a linebacker come up from the end and everything like that. But they have an Arizona State transfer with Jermaine Lowell and Des Tell. Those 2 at the nose tackle seem to be coming along. Their defensive ends are 270, 280. I mean, they got some athletic size over there. And they also brought in another transfer from Ole Miss, Will linebacker Momo Sanogo. So
That's fun to say.
What's that?
That's fun to say.
It is. It actually was. I looked at it and I was like, oh, God, I'm going to butcher this. And then when I went through, I'm like, oh, Momo Sanogo. That's easy.
There you go.
And, their defensive back, and they got Cottrell Clark as a corner is pretty good. I mean, they got some, Chandler Jones, some guys, some names we've heard. But at the end of the day, this defense wasn't, a world beater last year. I know that they looked great against us, but that was near the end of the year when we had some depth issues.
Well,
and
their overall defense finished 77th last year.
Right.
Their overall offense finished 41st, and that's where it was at.
Right. And they lost some guys, but they also have some experience and some stuff like that. So, again, I mean, it's going to be a competitive game, but they are bringing in some transfers, and, they got a little bit of turnover in some positions where sometimes, you'd like to have those 2, 3, 4 non-conference games before a conference game to kind of get things right. Now, and I believe they have a new offensive coordinator who's also going to be their wide receiver coach. So we'll see how that goes and how that translates to these new wide receivers. But realistically, that's going to be what it is. It's the first game. Both teams have a little bit of turnover. They have new coaches in different places, and like what Scott Satterfield said, it's like the first game is like a cat and mouse type game. You try to figure out what the other teams are doing, try to make adjustments. Maybe you hold some cards for the third, fourth quarter. So it's going to be.
Don't you think there's more unknowns for Louisville coming into this game than there is for Syracuse, though? I mean, don't you think they should have a pretty good grip on what Louisville is going to do, whereas Louisville may not have, especially on the defensive end, which is where the matchup needs to be. Do you think that, if they have gotten as good, or if they have gotten as gotten better at this 3-3-5 defense as they lead on, it would be something to worry about if you're Louisville, because you really don't know. So
you're right on that point. But on the flip side, Tony White's been there for what, 2 years, 3 years?
This is his third year, right?
Third year. So 2 years that we've played against Louisville, it hasn't looked great.
No, it hasn't.
And granted, like it's been at Louisville. It's been later in the season. Haven't necessarily been as healthy as we want to be. So obviously those are factors. But that's the one thing that scares me, because it seems to me like Louisville kind of has a grasp on how to beat this defense. But like you said,
we don't even know really what it's going to look like. Like, we don't know.
That's what I'm saying, because we're full. I was looking at the depth chart yesterday that Syracuse released, and I'm looking at the defensive backs in every single position, 2 deep. That's 10 players. They've all played meaningful snaps in Power 5 football. And then you throw in the cornerbacks, and there's depth there. And then you look at the linebackers, and obviously the backup linebackers, they need to prove it a little bit, but the starters are good. So, we don't even know, again, what you said. We don't know exactly how that's going to look, and hopefully it would look better than what it did last year. But that question mark is, just losing that whole defensive line. And a defensive line in their first game that's going against a Louisville team that's returning 4 or 5 starters from the line on top of their tight ends and all that jazz, with Malik Cunningham and, a running back that came from Tennessee. So, you're going to see a lot of run to set up the pass, and obviously it's going to be by the running backs and by Malik Cunningham. So, there's those questions. Those are the matchups you want to look at. Can our corners lock down these receivers that have little experience so that we can stop the running game and stop Malik Cunningham from having big plays? I'm sure there'll be a couple breakout plays, but, and then the other question is how much better did Louisville's defense get? But by the time we played them last year, our offense didn't look great. So, again, it's very tough when you look at it, because when you look at the last 3 years, especially the last 2, they kind of just whooped us and it hadn't even been close, but just the situation is different now. And with our new offensive coordinators and coach, and with the fact that we did return 17 out of 22 starters, like, I would say, like you said, we have more experience coming back. It's just Louisville might have a situation where they had talent waiting to just come up and play. So, that's why the spread's at like 3, because nobody really knows. We can sit here and speculate, but I don't even think that the damn Sharks that bet know.
Yeah, I thought it grew to 4.5, but
no, did it?
I thought so.
No, I'll take a look.
Don't quote me on that. You know how I am with that stuff.
But did you see our depth chart that came through?
Yeah, I guess
4.
There wasn't a whole lot of surprise. I'm looking at it right now. There's not a whole lot of surprises on it, I guess, except for Oronde Gadsden.
Yeah. Being the tight end.
Yeah.
I think, again, that's just a situation where I think that's just telling that, you're going to be moving these people around all over the place. I can see them lining him up in a tight end position, but using him as a receiver to get the mismatches.
Right. Does it have anything to do with just using the tight end? Getting someone in there that's got maybe better hands that can be used in short yardage situations, just to kind of mix it up and keep the options open?
Absolutely, but it also can't be a tell.
It can't be. Yeah, I agree.
It can't be a situation where, when Max Mang is in, they run it 90% of the time,
True.
And when Oronde Gadsden is in, they pass it 90% of the time. It can't be a tell. So that's the one thing that I worry about, because he doesn't have the weight, really, traditional weight to be a tight end, to be able to run block and go against DNs and linebackers and stuff. But again, that we know that these coaches find interesting ways to get matchups and get people the ball. So, I'm going to keep my trust in them, And I think the only other thing that was really exciting to me was seeing 3 true freshmen.
Gear.
Well, he's a redshirt freshman, right?
True.
But
yeah, he is,
three true freshmen break the 2 deep with LaQuint Allen.
Mm-hmm.
Running the running back, and with
that's right. That was another bit of a surprise too. Yeah, that's true.
And Jeremiah Wilson in the 2 deep for the corner there, and then also Dennis Jacquez Jr. in the 2 deep for the defensive end. He's a true freshman as well. And then when you look at their transfers, I mean, Juwan Price, we know he's going to be the number 3, and there's still room for him to get some, to help, especially on special teams. But looking at like Isaiah Johnson on the corner out of Dartmouth, making the 2 deep, and then Braylon, Elijah Clark, and then Braylon Oliver being the 1-2 over there at the free safety. Those guys are both transfers that came over. So
just Carlos Del Rio Wilson.
Carlos Del Rio Wilson, yeah. So just seeing these guys break the 2 deep, it really kind of it makes me excited about obviously the future, but obviously that they did get some guys that
are worth playing, putting on a depth chart, and
especially the true freshmen, right?
Yeah.
So that's exciting to me.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was gonna say the whole thing's exciting, and like I've said already, and I said last week, it's the unknowns that I'm excitedly nervous about. I'm cautiously optimistic. I can see this game going a number of ways, and that's except for a Syracuse blowout. I could see this thing being tight and losing. I could see it being tight and winning. I can see this thing being just Syracuse unprepared, because that's just where, what I'm used to.
Yeah.
So, you know what I'm saying?
I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I mean, I kind of disagree as far as that goes. I feel like
you feel like it's going to be close.
No, I'm saying that I think that there could be any type of matchup, because I think that the reason why Louisville has beaten us the last 2 years is because they jump on us early, and then we get forced to pass, which hasn't been our strong suit, and then they basically just beat our butts, But Louisville's kind of the same team, and we've never had Malik Cunningham in a situation where they're down, and he's feeling the pressure against our home crowd, our 12th man, and actually have to make these meaningful throws in coverage downfield. Because last year he made a lot of mistakes when it came to games like that, and it cost him. I mean, they made a bowl game, but they lost 4 of their 7 losses. I think were 6 points or less. And there was a lot of mistakes in those games because it was a close game and there was some pressure. So that's why I like our chances as long as we don't come out and lay an egg, and Louisville don't come out and just blow us out like it's been the past couple of years. Because when it gets out of hand, it's just shown to be kind of difficult to get back.
Well, it's demoralizing. It's really hard for Syracuse to claw their way back. They're not a come from behind, win from behind team. They're just
not down 3 possessions.
No. So it could get agonizing if that's how it's going to go. I personally don't feel that way, but I mean, I don't want to get too optimistic, but I am, like I said, cautiously optimistic about the whole thing. So
yeah, I'm just saying last year with 8:19 to go in the second. 8 minutes to go in the second quarter.
28 to
3.
3, yeah, okay.
At halftime, it was 35-3. I mean, I don't know what you do to that, And we only we held them to 2 field goals in the second half. At that point, it was over anyway. So
you know what I do? I bury my face in a pillow. That's what I do.
But that's the type of teams that we. I mean, I think these are 2 teams that aren't built to come back from those type of deficits. So that's why I do see a closer game, and I do think that the 12th man is definitely going to help this year without a doubt. I mean, Dino talked about that. So yeah.
Well, in this situation in particular, it's going to be different. It's going to be completely different for coach and quarterback. They haven't been there. Last time they were there, they got demolished. I think they had an interim coach. I forget the guy's name, but they had an interim coach step in for the year.
Yeah, but I think it was an interim coach, and it was the quarterback between Lamar Jackson and Malik Willis.
Yeah, it was. Okay, so I asked all of you on the socials to go ahead and give me your picks. I wanted Louisville at Syracuse final score predictions. We're going to talk about those real quick. And I'm trying to see if I have my score already written down. So I haven't looked at these yet. Dan on Facebook, 38-24 Syracuse. Okay. Chris on Facebook, 31-21 Louisville, unfortunately. Khan on Facebook, 17-10 Cuse. Now, that's a low. I have mine somewhat high scoring because I feel like it needs to be. For Syracuse to win, I feel like they're going to have to put up some points. They're going to have to keep up. Alex on Facebook, 24-21 Cuse, another low scoring one. Jeff on Facebook, 27-10 Louisville. And then, holy cow, okay, I got a bunch of responses on the Twitter. Let me see here real quick. Let me pull this up. Okay. We changed their profile picture. Joe probably doesn't even know that.
No, I'm not on Twitter, so.
It's on Facebook, too.
No.
Okay. At Fossman44, 27-20 Orange. At Chad and Cuse, Louisville 42, Syracuse 15. That's a rough. That's a tough 15 right there. They worked for that in that scenario.
5 field goals.
Yeah, it's pathetic. So at Old Hank 32, Cuse 45, Louisville 28. Our boy Captain Patrick at Old Cuse on the Twitter, 34-30. He doesn't tell me who wins. Patrick, hello. You got to give me the winner, bro. The winner. At Jed Sestaro, 44-0. Those are boring to me, guys. 44-0. That's so trite.
Us?
Huh?
Us?
Yeah. 44-0 Orange.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's, I think about it a little bit. Give me something. At EJ625464, 27-24 Syracuse. At Chris02M, 30-27 Syracuse. At Andrew Burrows 17, 51-33. Golly day, Louisville. Man, there's a bunch of these. Let me just finish them up. At, let's just say Grant on Facebook. All right. 31-16 Orange. The Loud House will be loud. Tucker was unpleased with the Louisville game last year. Michael Jones owes them 2 extra quarters of something from the soft-ass targeting call last year. Oh, that's right. I remember that. Remember that?
Mm-hmm.
Tom on the Twitter. Cuse 44. Louisville 22. Okay. Double them up, of course. At Cuse Waterboy, 34-31 Syracuse. Hashtag Schmidt happens. And what we got here? Noah, by the way, at No Blanchard 44, 35-21 Cuse. He sent a DM with the score, and that's what spurred on me doing this. So thank you, Noah. At Doc Verland, Cards 35, Cuse 13. So it's a mix.
All over the place.
It's all over the place. So with that said, it is time for us to pick. And Joe, it's fine. I don't like putting you on the spot. So I'll go first. And then we got a speaker request here on, what is this app again? I forget. Oh my gosh. Spotify Live. Spotify Live.
I thought it was Green Room.
It is called Spotify Live. And I
learned about it.
Okay. No, I thought I just closed out of it, but we got one in there. What I'm going to do with Spotify Live is I am going to use it for the prediction segment of the preview show and the fan feedback segment of the post-game show. What do we call that?
Post-game show.
Is that what we call it? Okay.
Yeah. I think we can keep it pretty,
we kept it that simple. Okay. So we'll do that for the fan feedback segment of that show after the coach montage. So just so you know, Spotify Live for both football shows this year. If you forgot, we do a preview show and a post game show for every football game. So, all right. We start fresh, Joe. Fresh slate, new year, new team, new coaches. Louisville coming into the Dome, big game, and I can't remember a game this big to start ever in my life, probably. Right? I mean, do you? I mean, I can't think of one. That's all I'm saying.
No, not recently.
No. So, anyway.
Unless you want to go back to the 90s and we're playing Tennessee and Michigan and all them.
Yeah, true. I don't know if any of those are the first game of the season, though. But, hey, someone will fact check us, I'm sure.
Sure.
Feel free to DM. It would be huge. I want nothing more than Syracuse to pluck this win. I predicted a 7-5 season for Syracuse. It's kind of hinged on this game right here. So, unfortunately, I feel like if we lose this game, my prediction is going to go with it. So, I stayed true to my prediction. I felt like they had to have this game to get it. So, I'm choosing Syracuse to win. I think the fans play a huge role in this. I don't know if you saw Babers welcoming in the incoming freshman class, but they're hyped. They're ready to go. The Otto's Army last year was lit, as the kids say. That's been the best student section I've seen in years, and I think that it only gets better this year. They're gonna have to stay loud even when things aren't going perfect. That's the main thing with Syracuse fans, is that they quiet down too quick. You have to stay in the game. You have to realize as Syracuse fans, they need you. They're gonna need you big in this game, and if you can do it, I think they'll pull it off. 31-28 Syracuse.
Oh, dude, so close.
Really?
So close, yeah. Yeah, you're right. In his press conference, he did talk about that, and he thought that last year's freshman class for the Otto's Army was good, and he came out and said, and again, this might just be, a coach speak saying what he needs to say, but he said that this freshman class is even more impressive. So if they can come in and do better and replace what seniors had left and everything like that, then, I think that we're better for it. And honestly, looking at it too, I just feel like this Syracuse team, there's too many players on this team that have just got bullied by Louisville, who, I mean, they're a good team.
Michael Jones is chomping at the bit.
Oh, dude, there's more. It's more than just him. It's
I
just, that's all we've seen.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, so my thing is that, like, everybody on Syracuse has got all the motivation in the world, especially game one, to go in there against Louisville. And I don't know if Louisville thinks the same way. We got UConn week 2. They play us, and then the next Friday they got to go to Central Florida, and then they got Florida State at home. So I mean, I don't know. When sometimes things like this happen, where you look at Louisville and they might look. Coaches are always going to tell you not to look past opponents, not to do this, not to do that. But it's hard sometimes in the college, the student athletes' mind when it's like, we kicked their ass 41-3 last year. Oh, they haven't came close to us in 3. And I'm not saying that they're going to look past it, but there's a lot of things that they're still going to have to fix. It's the first game. They're coming to Syracuse. I think it's going to be a rowdy crowd. And you're facing a team that's way more hungrier to beat you than you are to beat them.
And the fans are hungry too. They are so ready for this game, and to have a game this big at the Dome on a Saturday night. It doesn't get any more. You as a fan walking into the Dome, you don't get any more freaking hyped up than that. That place is going to be rocking at the start of that game. The only thing missing is an intro song for these guys. I mean, we gotta get something going with that. I mean, seriously, it's far past time to get something going with that.
That should be. I don't think it should be a situation. I mean, you should be able to get your captains together and get a song. Pick a song for that season, right?
5 minutes alone, Pantera. That's my.
But we talked about it, right? And I mean, this is a big game, I think, for both schools. And like what you said, I think Louisville could probably still make a bowl if they lose to us first game. I don't know if that's the same for us. And I don't really care about my predictions because that always changes all the time. But as far as this game goes, honestly, I see a highly, highly motivated Syracuse team. And I'm going to go a little bit higher than you. but I'm thinking something like a 34-28 win by Syracuse.
Oh man. Okay, it is close. All right. We got Michael on the Spotify live. I can hear myself, Michael.
Oh, hold on. God. Can you hear me all right?
I can hear you and me.
Ah, crap. Hold on a second.
This guy.
This guy.
Everybody always calls us when they're in
Better?
their vehicles. Yes, it's much better. Yeah,
Get out of your dreams and get into your car.
But you guys
Oh my God.
You guys got to understand when I'm on the Bluetooth speaker, I hear myself, and it comes across that way. Anyway, Michael, what's up? Welcome
Maybe you're
back.
just crazy.
Maybe it's possible. I'll have to listen to the playback.
You guys are so glad, dude. I was literally about to say the same scores. I had 34-21 Cuse.
Okay, so guest Michael, 34-21.
Yeah, and you know what, Joe, you're a piece of crap. By the way,
Wow, that's brutal, Joe. You gonna take that?
I text him all the time. He texts me back 2 days later, and answers me with some ambiguous text that does not answer my question.
Okay, what was the question? Maybe I can help you.
I was trying to figure out what kind of headphones you have.
Oh,
And
so
Joe's like,
okay,
oh,
hold on one second.
I don't think they work with Bluetooth, and then he just stops talking to me, and I was like,
he sends me a text that says, "Hey, what kind of headphones does Sean use? My AirPods are about to shit the bed," and I go,
I showed you that text when we were hanging out.
"Yeah, that was me."
Yeah, he told me later that was you. But when I first saw it, I'm like, who's he texting? Is he texting me about anyway, I have Audio Technica studio headphones.
What was the other ones you had?
I had a
Last year.
No, I only had two. I only have two for the podcast.
Yeah.
I only have two for the podcast. One is the Audio Technica ones I have right now, and then the other one is Audio Technica, but they have a microphone attached to them. They're like a broadcaster headset.
Oh, I thought you told me another brand. Anyway, well, listen, it's really awesome to hear from you guys again.
Well,
Because
thank you.
I've been starved for content here.
Well, it is like we don't aim to please.
You can blame Summer for that.
Unfortunately, we don't aim to please. I'm sorry, we don't. If we really wanted to aim to please, we would do something every week. But we love the listeners that we have, and they know what to expect because we do the same thing every year. And they always come back.
Literally every year.
Literally every year. We're not trying to break any glass ceilings with this thing. Is just two local dudes who both live in the South now. I just think everybody needs a break. It's kind of like a job, and not for Joe. So
no,
let's
Joe's
clarify. Let's clarify. He just shows up. Okay.
Yeah, Joe just goes along for the ride.
He just sits at his girl's computer and has a bunch of windows open and clicks back and forth to him. Me, I got to put the montage together. I got to do all the editing for it. I got to edit the show afterwards and get that. I'm going to bed at like 11 o'clock midnight when we start this thing at 7. Joe always says, what time you want to do it? This is to the point of the text that you got 2 days later. What time you want to do it?
6:45.
I want to do it at 6 o'clock, Joe. Oh, well, how about normal time? Well, what's normal time, Joe? 7 o'clock, 7:30. Like, okay, let's try for 7. Sure enough, most of the time it's 7:30. But today I got to give him props. He got here at 7 o'clock. Super proud of him. Very punctual today. And, if I couldn't be happier. If I could start at 7, I'm good because it takes me 4 hours to edit the thing and put it up.
I wish we had a video. You 4 hours, Sean? 4
hours, but working my fingers to the bone.
Oh God! I guess I'll be the scapegoat for this first episode. And just Mike, I'm sorry, I'm a piece of crap.
You're all right, Joe.
Look, I reached out to him. That's all I had. I don't know about that stuff, but I did ask. I did show him. I did screenshot. It wasn't like I just left you out there in the dark.
You know what could solve this situation is
Beer?
if you just
Beer.
Sean, if you just send me your cell phone number in a DM or something like that, that we would have to bypass the middleman with Joe being technologically impaired.
Are you on Twitter? Are you on Twitter or anything?
Yeah, I'm on all of them.
Are you? Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Well, hit me up.
You can find me on there. Anyway.
No, Michael. Again, one rule. You find us.
Hey,
okay.
All right.
I'm not on Twitter, so if you're going to be on Twitter, then that's all Sean. All right. And outside of my job, I am a horrible middleman. I want to let everybody know.
That's true. Also, Twitter. I'm getting. We disappear from Twitter for weeks at a time in the off season, so I'm back.
It's probably a good thing. That thing is toxic.
I don't scroll Twitter. I post to Twitter.
It's the worst. I only look for you guys on Twitter. Literally, that's it.
Oh well, thank you. You've been looking a long time here recently.
Yeah, so. I just searched Cuse Militia, and that's it. And I'm done.
Well, you get ready. I plan on amping up I got to get my the algorithm back, because when you don't post for a long time and you just kind of sit stale, it takes a while for, especially on Facebook, for people to start seeing your stuff again. So I'm going to do the polls. I'm going to do all that stuff. We'll always do the prediction stuff to have fun with for the previews, and obviously fan feedback. So hit me up. I'll shoot you my number. That's fine. You got any questions about anything, you let me know. All right, Michael? I appreciate you sitting in the Spotify live green room.
Yeah, waiting for Joe to finish his long-winded. Oh my God!
Oh, I know. Tell me about it. I got to give him the old wrap it up symbol every once in a while.
That's all he does is just talk. Hey, quick thing though. So going back to the Michael Jones thing, when you guys saw the press conference, man, he's like bouncing on his toes, like he's ready to roll, man. And I got to imagine his whole linebacker core is the same way. Like those guys are gonna eat some people.
He's pretty proud of them all. He's got a lot of good things to say. But who wouldn't, right? Though, so I want to see it.
The Babers said that this may be the best linebacker core he's ever seen, and that includes like Trill Williams and like all those other guys, Ifantu, and like all those guys that like are in NFL right now. Like, come on. Yeah, I mean, that's pretty impressive. And the guy knows what he's talking about, besides the fact, like, he's not super winningest coach in the world, but I don't know. Like,
super winningest, yeah. That's
super winningest, yeah.
That's cutting it a little short. That's fine. He's got time to make that up. I think it starts this year, hopefully.
I think we're gonna surprise some people this year. I really do. And I don't say that lightly. Okay. Well, we will know a lot. And you know what? The good thing about this year, starting the way that we're starting with, Louisville, and then game 1 and game 4 is Virginia. I'm not putting a lot of hope behind Virginia, but it's still a conference game. And the thing is you're going to know a lot after Saturday. For sure.
And I think we'll have a pretty good gauge of how this is going to go and what they need to do to get better. So, Michael, appreciate it, man. Don't be a stranger. We'll see you back in the green room again. All right, bud? Take care.
Absolutely. And Thunderstruck should be the opening song, by the way.
Okay. All right. A bid for Thunderstruck. All right. I can get a poll going with this. I can get a poll going.
Oh, you should.
I will.
Wait, didn't you do one last year?
I did, but I forgot the results. I did. I'm fascinated with it, though. And I just love the Pantera riffs. You can almost pick any Pantera song and just keep looping the chorus, and it would be enough for me. But I understand not everybody's into
Makes you want to run through a brick wall.
Exactly. That's what I'm talking about. So we'll see. We'll put that together. Thanks, buddy. Appreciate it.
All right. Take it easy.
All right. Bye. Okay. So, listen.
I'll tell you what. For me, I hope that we do good, because I want to be able to go to Wake Forest is the second to last game, and
you going to that?
I would like to.
It's right around my birthday.
If this season takes a turn for the worst early, then I don't know.
Well, we'll see. If going into Boston College, if they could be doing something special, finish out the season strong. It'd be worth the drive for me. 3 hours.
Yeah.
So, anyways, there's something to think about. It's right around my birthday. It's just after my birthday, November 19th. So, all right, listen. Utilize the green room, the Spotify Live, because it's the best, most flawless way, as long as you're not on the Bluetooth in your car, to get on, give us your thoughts. I had one guy, that was 2 times in the car. We had Dominic one time driving his mail truck. It must have not had any doors. There was someone bathing a kid. There was someone. We've had all kinds of things.
I think a lot of that was Michael.
That might be true.
75% of what you just said, I think, was him.
Okay,
but,
might be true.
Hey, look.
Yes.
He calls in. He wants to be part of the show. It's all good.
Yeah,
you got to, give your kid a bath, or you're driving and you're on YouTube. You got to pull over on the highway, and I mean, dude, that's dedicated.
That's good. I want the one at the restaurant. I say, "Where the hell are you?" And someone tells me, "I'm at dinner with my wife."
I'm not just gonna call him a piece of crap for calling, and he's on his YouTube or his Bluetooth, or he's I was giving my daughter a bath. Oh, yeah, piece of crap. Nah, not messing my, Thank you for your
participation.
Yes.
Okay. Want all of you to participate as well. Be on the lookouts on the socials, plural, all 2 of them. We're hitting it hard this year, man. I'm dedicated now. So
socials.
I can't wait to get on the socials and hit it hard and get the polls rolling and all that other good stuff. And that's what this show is about. This show is for all of you. That's what it was designed for. So we appreciate, speaking of all of you, we appreciate all of you for listening, hanging out with us. This was the Louisville preview. Can't wait for Saturday night. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Can't wait. Saturday's going to be a long day.
It is. For Joe, I'm Sean. We're out.
Peace.